Back in June 24th of the year 2012, I began an adventure where I wanted to transcribe all of the Greek New Testament and practice everything that I had learned from reading New Testament Greek. I began in James. It was the third time I was reading through it, going through my UBS fourth revised copy, and this is where I started. And this video is going to document how I started back in the year 2012, usually on Saturdays, and I just started it in James and began to work my way through the New Testament, and just recently completed it in this year, 2024. So this video will document how I went through this project, starting in James. We are from James chapter 3 and James chapter 4. James 5. And feel free to pause anywhere in this video if you'd like to see how I marked it up. Then we ended James and went into 1 Peter. Chapter 3 and chapter 4. Into chapter 5. Then into 2 Peter. Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Then in the 1 John, chapter 1, chapter 2. Chapter 3. Chapter 4. And chapter 5. Here's 2 John and 3 John. Then the book of Jude. And then the book of Revelation. Chapter 5 into chapter 6. And chapter 7. chapter 8 into chapter 9. Chapter 10. Into chapter 11. Here we have into chapter 12. Chapter 13. Chapter 14. Chapter 15. Into 16. On to 17. Into 18. Into 18. To 19. Chapter 20. Into 21. And to 22. And then that completed the book of Revelation. At that point, I started back in the beginning of the New Testament and began with the book of Matthew. Chapter 1. Into 2. Into chapter 3. 4. 5. And chapter 6. Into chapter 7. Chapter 8. And chapter 9. To chapter 10. Chapter 11. Going into chapter 12. Moving into chapter 13. And into chapter 14. Making our way down to chapter 15. More of chapter 15, beginning chapter 16. There's chapter 17. Making our way into chapter 18. Beginning chapter 19. And beginning chapter 20. Making our way to chapter 21. Chapter 21 into chapter 22. Beginning chapter 23. Beginning chapter 24. Still through chapter 24. In chapter 25. Beginning chapter 26. That should say 26 all the way through here. So we stopped at chapter 26 in verse 41. So that concludes book 1 of this grand journey. The next video will contain book 2.